Welcome to the Quality of Love podcast. I am your host, Tyrone Dixon, nationally certified life and relationship coach, husband, father to two beautiful princesses, and CEO and founder of Arosu Concrete Consulting. Thank you guys for taking the time out to listen in with us tonight. We really appreciate it. Tonight, we've been on our interview streak, guys. We got another hot, great interview ready for you guys. I got my man, Reggie Seigler, with me here, ready to give you guys some information and drop some gems on you about his musical background, about the great stuff that he's doing. But before I let him introduce himself, I met this gentleman through our new, or Syracuse's new Black Media Mogul Maker program, which is a 10-week program that him and I are a part of to basically allow creators to maintain creative control of their content. And you guys know how I am about creators maintaining creative control. So I think this aligns right with what we're going, where we're going, with the quality of love, and also kind of giving us Black folks things to hold on to for ourselves. All right. Without further ado, I'm gonna let Mr. Reggie introduce himself, and then we'll get into a conversation about his background, some of the things that he's got going on within the community, and just some of the power moves he's making. Man, this dude is a powerful gentleman, and I'm just gonna get out the way and let him introduce himself. Reggie.
Well, first of all, thanks, man, for having me on here, man, and congratulations on all that you do. I've been checking you out, look at you. I love your personality, your smile, just your approach, man. So I know that, the success you have now is only going to multiply. And, it warms my heart and makes me glad to see another young brother just doing things. So, congratulations on that. Again, thanks. As you said, my name is Reggie Seigler. I consider myself a local musician. I consider all musicians kind of local because everybody's local to somewhere. But, I'm a local musician, and I've been doing my thing around here for a little while. I had a band called Soft Spoken for 35 years. So, that was
nice.
I think probably there are some other names that have been around longer than mine. The Black Light's nearly 50.
Mm-hmm.
Charles Kennan and the Bells of Harmony, probably 50 or more. So, 35 years was good, but I won't claim the title. I'll put it like that.
That's a nice run, though. You got to pat yourself on the back for that, man. That's a nice run.
No doubt. I'm not, making light of it, because I had a lot of experience during that time.
Mm-hmm.
So, it was a good 35 years. So, but it was just time to kind of just, step aside and do some different things.
Yeah, I hear you on that. With 35 years of experience, I would imagine you've seen quite a bit of changes in the industry, right?
Oh, no doubt. A lot of changes. Like, for instance, I was just looking at the paper this morning, Syracuse.com, and I saw the Dandelion Festival that they had downtown, right?
Yeah.
And, I was, checking out the audience, a little bit different than mine, you know what I'm saying? People out downtown in, costumes and, big eyes on top of their head and stuff like that. It was amusing. It's all a part of fun. You know what I mean? People just having fun that way. The way the music is created now, with DJs and, audio, video effects and, things on stage like that, loud and big sound systems. That's appealing. I get that, but it's a far cry different than, what it was in my day, and, I can say to a certain extent that it's a little more exciting, right? But being a true and purist musician, it kind of misses all that for me. So, it's kind of bitter and sweet, but, I can see where things are going, and I'm happy things are always moving forward. So in terms of experience, which I think is what you asked me about, yeah, I've seen a lot. And Soft Spoken Band, has had the privilege and the good fortune of, traveling up and down the coast, performing in, some of the different states at different resorts. And we've also had the good fortune to be able to, do cruise ships. We've had good fortune to be able to do, casinos and, corporate parties. I mean, you name it, over 35 years, we've done it. But the one thing that we've done that, a lot of those things, those bigger things, seem like they're, that's the thing to do, and they were fun. But the most fun thing was being able to play at the corner bar, go up on South Ave and, see all my friends, you know what I mean? Or make new friends right here in my own community, because this is where I'm at, this is where I live. And, you know, so that's fun. I mean, to be able to make someone in your neighborhood, in your circle, in your peer group, you know, to be able to enjoy what you do and, you know, give it to them freely and purely, you know, and with love. So that's the greatest thing, man, you know, to
That's
do it
dope.
right here.
That's dope. Definitely. I hear you on that. So I got a lot of friends that are music purists. And for me, I gotta admit that I'm not a music purist. I'm the type of person that hear the beat and I'm like, oh, that's a good beat. And then I'll probably check out with the lyrics from time to time. But you just said something that I hear a lot from my friends that really like, they love music. And it's, there's the flashiness, right? So there's the whole theatrical piece of music now, but it's lacking a lot of substance. Would you agree with that, or would you say that it's kind of hit or miss with a lot of music? But because they say it, and I'm happy I actually have you on because I want to get it from a professional. You've been doing it for so long, you would be able to accurately answer that question.
Well, so you're asking me whether or not I think there it is missing some things? Absolutely, because you know, but it kind of balances. Maybe, you know, I kind of alluded to earlier. You know, it evolves, it changed. You know, I'm here to think, you know, to say that it's possible that when music began, we began, you know, with our voices or with drums, which would have been, you know, anything that we could beat on. You follow what I'm saying? So, you know, and over the years it evolved. Now I'm talking about a long time evolving. And we evolved into instruments, and then we evolved into electronic instruments. I mean, like electric basses, guitars, and pianos, and, you know, then synthesized, oh, that's a big word, synthesized instruments, right? We evolved to that. And so now, you know, we've evolved even further, whereas, you know, there are DJs that are making music. You know, once upon a time, the DJ was the person that played the music that someone else made. Right now, the DJ is the star, him or herself, right? And so it's evolved. I think it's missing some of the elements from my time, right? But you know, it has also added new element. You know, like I said, when I came along, the DJ didn't make music. Now he makes music. It's not the music that I prefer to hear, which is okay. That's why we have so many different genres. However, I do think that learning to play instruments, you know, learning to vocalize properly, actually, you know, really be singers. I think that is somewhat dying, you know what I mean? And it's unfortunate, you know what I mean? Because as I said earlier, we began, I believe music began with a voice, right? And I believe music began by us beating on whatever it was to accompany that voice. Right. And now, you know, we are not doing it. It's being done electronically. And the voices are not being naturally created. You know, we're putting a voice in and then we're kind of manipulating it with electronics. So it's moving away from way far away from where it began. There's no spirit in electronics. You know, when you and I talk, we have a vibe, we connect on a spirit. You follow what I'm saying? If I sing, you know, my wife's a great singer, my daughter's a great singer, you know, and we're blessed, they're blessed that way. But, you know, my wife was always the lead singer in our band. And for 35 years, I'd see her be able to sing a song, right? A really heartfelt song, and hold an audience of 200 people in the palm of her hand, just by what she's doing and what she's singing. It actually touched them. I've seen people cry. I don't necessarily know that electronic music can do that. People still go, but there's no spirit in it. There's no humanness in it. And I think it's missing.
Just for clarification purposes, when you say electronic music, are you referring to like auto tunes and like that type of manipulation of the voice? Nice.
Yes, I am. I'm talking about auto tune. I'm talking about you know, the sampled beats. I'm talking about just synthesized sounds and created sounds that are, you know, are unnatural. Definitely so.
So the authenticity needs to be brought back to music.
Yeah, it needs to be brought back.
There we go. Bring the soul back. You heard from a professional. Bring a soul back. You heard from a professional. I'm with you on that, Reggie. So kind of still staying in the lane of music and on that path there. Let's say that someone's, because I'm sure you probably hear this and know this a lot, that there's always someone trying to get involved in the music industry in some way, shape, or form, or kind of get their foot in the door. What do you say to a young man or a woman at this point in time who's interested in the music field and is at square one and does not know where to go?
Well, if they're young, chances are we're all influenced by our environments, and chances are if they're very young, they're probably being influenced by the music we just discussed for a little while. But it would be helpful, I think, even if that was the direction they were to travel, if they were to just learn about instruments, learn about singing, learn about pitch, learn about timing, learn about timbre. You know what I mean? And I think, and even study some of the old music, right? When I was coming along, we had to study, Beethoven and Bach, and, it was really boring, but there was something in it, right? And, we studied Dixieland and jazz from the earlier part of last century, right? But I think that, kids coming along now should probably study music from the 50s, 60s, 70s, right? R&B, rock and roll, and all its iterations of music throughout those eras, and just pull something from that they can carry into what they're going to be moving forward with. You know what I mean? So learn how to play an instrument, learn what scales are. You know what I mean? Learn what pitch is, learn what timing is, learn what notes are, right? And the schools are offering that, not as much as they did when I was coming along, but it's still being offered, and I think a kid that's interested in music should do that. And then the last thing, or one other thing that's very important, is practice. Right, it's just, as with anything, practice, practice, practice. I don't know that it makes perfect. They used to say practice makes perfect. I don't know. if you keep practicing a mistake a long time, you'll have a perfect mistake.
Yeah.
Right? So,
I'm with you on that. Stay away from the perfect beast.
Right. But practice, though, whatever you're interested in, just do it a lot.
Nice.
I think you'll get better at it.
Nice. So your recommendations would be to diversify what you do in terms of familiarizing yourself with the different instruments and familiarizing yourself with the essence of music, and then make sure you practice and put the work in to be better every day. That's correct. Nice.
Put the work in. Definitely. Nice. Put the work in.
Listen, it's so funny. I gotta share this side story. It's so funny, but like when people ask me about like how do you be successful and like how do you continue to maintain all these things, and I say work is the number one key ingredient, they look at me like I'm crazy. It's like it sounds so cliche. It sounds so cliche, right? But literally, you have to continue to work and be consistent and persistent with whatever you do, or you won't be successful.
That's correct. That is true.
Nice. All right. One more music question, and then we'll shift on to a few other things that you have. So we talked a little bit about your background, some of the things that you would recommend for new and emerging individuals that are looking in the field. I want you to share a little bit about your daughter, who I just found out is my cousin and has been doing her thing for so long. How do you, first of all, could you share about her a little bit? But then also being a dad in this space, like how in the world do you keep her level-headed and then also keep yourself level-headed?
Well, you know what? I'll tell you, a lot of it came from just her upbringing. When she was coming up, I used to have a studio, and I used to record guys and girls and, singers, and we always had instruments and music around the house. And one of the things, because it was such a grind, and when you're a gigging musician, right, your job is looking for a new job, right? Looking for the next job. As soon as that last job is done, you're unemployed again, right? So your job is always looking for a job. And, it wasn't anything that I really wanted, any parent would want to wish on their child. You know what I mean? Hey, I wish you a life of, hustling.
That's
looking for a job, right? All the time, right? But like I said, we're influenced by our environments. She's kind of picked up on it, right? And, so she just kind of gravitated towards it, I guess, kind of naturally. Her mother was a singer. I played a bass and we were in a band, and, so it was kind of a natural progression for her. So she got there and she's into it. I've always encouraged her to, try to find your own place in the world. And also, I've always tried to encourage her to be her own person. So she kind of runs her own thing. You know what I mean? She runs her own business.
Nice.
It is totally separate from what I do. As a matter of fact, most of the time, we don't discuss a lot about business. I have a lot that maybe I could share with her, but she's a person that is just kind of independent and wants to forge her own way. That's okay. You know what I mean? I sometimes wish that we as people, would kind of stand upon the shoulders of the work that our parents and grandparents and whoever before us has done, because that is kind of the way that a lot of people get into things, is that, someone else has, cleared out half the driveway, right? The only thing you had to do is just go to the end, right?
Yeah, finish it off.
But sometimes being the people that we are, we like to forge our own ways. So that's kind of the situation. And she's done well. She's gotten her master's degree in music. She's taught music. She sings, and she writes a lot of songs. I'm waiting for her to actually put out an EP. It'd probably be more than an EP with all the songs she's written.
I was gonna say she's been doing it for a while.
Yeah, she has. She plays more than one instrument. She plays guitar, she plays piano, and so she's quite talented. I'm just waiting for her to say, I want to put all this stuff together and get it out in the world. I do know that she has some websites. I can't tell you the name of them, but I know she has some websites with her music, like probably on SoundCloud or whatever. She does go by the name of Missy Belgray, right? And Belgray is actually my grandmother's name was Belgray, right? And so she just took the two names and put it together and calls herself Missy Belgray. So that's kind of cool. I do like that. So that is all a part of her creating and forging her own way. So, she could have been Missy Seigler. My wife performs professionally as Donna Alford, right? Oh. And right, so she could have been Missy Alford, any of those things. But in terms of her being her own person, forging her own space, she's still within our history. Again, like I say, my grandmother's name was Belgray. She just put the two together, so she's Missy Belgray. And it's kind of cool, a little French,
Yeah, I like it. I never knew where the Belgray came from, but I knew
that's exactly
she's very creative, so I knew it was something unique.
Yeah, so
that's what's up. That's dope. Shout out to cousin, man. You're doing your thing out here. Yeah. We'll make sure I'll try to track her down and get her info so we can include it in the bio. Okay. So the audience can do that too. All right. Music wise, is there anything else you want to share before we start to talk about? I think I'd like to hit on the Black Media Mogul Maker class and kind of what you're looking to get out there.
Music wise, I guess, I like I said, I retired a group Soft Spoken about 2 years ago. And but I didn't retire from being a musician, right? For me, I think being a musician is a lifelong thing. I used to say that I used to tell my mother, music is what I am, it's who I am, right? I was young, right? And she pulled me aside one time and she said, well, if that's who you are, you really ain't about much.
Dang.
She said, yeah, she was real with it. She just said, that's what you do, son, right? You do that and it encompasses a large part of your life. That's what you do, but it's not who you are, because if that's all you are, then, you're missing, you're a child of God, you're a father, you're a son, you're a brother, you're a family member, you're a community member, you're an upstanding person, right? So, you're more than just music, right? So that's kind of the message I want to get out to some of my musical peers, because I know the feeling, I've been there. And in some ways I'm still there, even though I have the knowledge that I'm more than that, right? But, a lot of my young friends, yeah, this is who I am, this is what I do, right? This is who I am. There's even a song, I forgot which artist made that, but music is who I am. And that's cool. I get how we twist words and languages and everything we say, we don't mean literally, right? But I'm just taking it in a literal sense, that when we say this is who I am, okay, like my mother said, you ain't about much.
That's funny, man. when I first started my coaching journey, I used to always say like, yeah, I'm a life coach, I'm a relationship coach, blah blah blah. And one of my cousins was like, oh, is that all you are? Really?
Yeah.
Is that all you are? And I'm like, yeah. He like, oh, so you're not a dad, you're not a, and he just like started run down in the list of all the other roles I play. And I'm like, oh shoot, yeah, let me not box myself in. You know
That's
what I
true.
mean? So
true.
that's a really good metaphor and analogy for not boxing yourself in, right? You are more than, no matter what it is, whatever you claim to be, you're way more than that. So that's
right.
dope. I like you a lot. You learned that lesson early, man. That's that's a dope one.
She told me. I mean, I had just had a nice set, and we played. Everybody clapping and sweating and stuff. Yeah, it's like I am. All right.
Yeah. And nothing like no harsh truth from mom, man. Mom gonna give you that real.
Yeah, I birthed you. I know who you are. This is what you are. My son.
Dope, man. That's what's up.
But that's all I would really have to say to any other musician is, I feel that I understand that. I mean, it's like, I think I knew that I was a musician probably. I can remember a theme song from an old TV show. I had to be 2 years old because of the place that we lived, right? And it was the Perry Mason's theme song. And you may not even remember or know who Perry Mason was, but it was just kind of a weekly TV show. It had this big orchestrated song and theme song. And I can remember as a little kid, thinking that there was something special about that, right? More Absolutely. So than any other TV show that may have came on, and for the sake of belief, I'll say maybe I was 3, but I know where we lived. And when we lived there, we moved out, I was 3.5 years old. So it had to be before that. And the theme song, like I said, was a theme song to Perry Mason. I still like that song, but as I got older, I look back upon that and say that's when I knew that music was special. Not necessarily that I was a musician, but I knew that there was something special about music because I can remember when that show came on, it was like, yeah, that's good. Right?
Yeah.
So that's how far it goes back, man.
Yeah, man. That's it. It had that instant connection to you. Like, so that instant connect. That's dope. Really did. That's dope. Yeah. Shout out to my man Reggie, man. Look at this guy doing all type of big things, great things, music-wise. I would like to speak a little bit about what you would like to get. So just to give people an overview again, I know I've shared this a little bit in the past, but Reggie and I are a part of what's called the Black Media Mogul Maker Program. It's a 10-week program where essentially Black creatives are shown and introduced to various methods of film production, and different media outlets. And the idea is to make sure that we're maintaining creative control of the content we put out. And that's where I met Reggie. So I would like you to talk a little bit about kind of what your goals are coming out of the program and what you're looking to do as we come close to the ending of it.
Yeah. First of all, when they asked us a few questions about why did we want to participate, et cetera, and when I kind of researched my soul and looked into myself, it quickly came to me that number one is that for years I have been sort of a mentor or sort of a go-to person for a lot of my peers and a lot of musicians that may be just younger than me and people of that age range. But there's so much that I feel that I could learn from people who are much younger than me, right? To keep me relevant, to keep me moving forward. So the opportunity to be in that class, knowing that there was going to be a lot of young creatives in there, really appealed to me, right? And so when you answered the same questions that I did, so I wrote that in mind, and I wasn't sure whether or not they would accept me, but that was one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to be there, is because I wanted to be around that young creative energy, right? And and I'm getting a lot of energy from that. I'm getting a lot out of it. Now, we all have to have a business idea. My business idea is, of course, musical. And what I'd like to do, as we talked earlier about how music is changing, the DJ is actually making the music and it's electronic, et cetera. Being a bass player, I feel that the bass guitar is missing from today's music. It's absolutely missing. and people are riding around with, speakers as big as this dining room table I'm sitting at, right? Inside their cars, right?
Funny story, really quick. I gotta share this with you, Reggie. There was a gentleman that I seen ride in yesterday or the day before that had no seats in the back of his car, just like stereos. And I'm like, I don't get it. I might be old. I don't get it though, man.
I've probably seen the same dude. He had a guy. I see a guy yesterday, has his back window out and just was all the speakers facing out towards it.
What?
Yeah, maybe it's a different guy you saw.
Yeah, no, that's the next level right there, man. That's
but it's missing. So my idea is I'd like to do podcasts just like this. I want to get my technology up because I want mine to be as clear and the audio to be as clear as yours because I'm an audiophile and I like technology. But my idea is to create a podcast called Bass to Bass. And that's BASS for bass guitar to bass, BASE, which is whoever my target audience will be or whoever will accept me into the audience, that would be the bass. And what I like to do is interview some of the bass players from, some of the significant bass lines of, the 70s, 80s, and 90s when, bass was really happening. What we have now is we have a lot of low end in music. Right? There's a lot of low end, 808, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That's low end, right? But we don't have a lot of bass guitar, right? So that's what I'm talking about specifically. So I'd like to, be on one end with my bass, maybe, someone else on the other end, in their environment, and they teach me how to play the bass line exactly the way they recorded it, right? And then maybe I'll play it, or give it another flavor. Right. And then just put it out as, okay, there you have it. Here's Bootsy Collins. This is how he played XYZ. Right. So, I know it's going to be tough. The tough thing I'll be about that is really getting to those individuals. But, with social media, I don't think it's as hard to do these days.
No. You'd be surprised how many times that you'd reach out to a celebrity or somebody you're looking to get more information from and they respond. Right. Yeah, I think that's very possible.
Yeah. So I'm just hoping I'm praying for it. So we'll see if it unfolds. And
that's what's up.
I'd like to present it through or under the umbrella of a group that I'm involved with called Jams. I don't know if you want to talk about that at all.
What do you mean? Do we want to talk about that, Reggie? This is your world, man. Yeah, this is your chance. We're talking about whatever you want to talk about. All right, brother. That was a good segue right into Jams. What's Jams? Let the people, I know, but let the people know because I've just been invited. So thank you. I appreciate the love.
Cool. We have a website up to, we call it Joined Artists, Musicians, and Singers Incorporated, right? We're a 501c3. And what our mission is really is there is a creative economy, right? A lot of people don't really call it that, but I know you understand what I'm saying when I say
absolutely.
That. And, we typically as people, as Black people, brown people, people of color, are not as connected or connected as well as people who are not, in our diaspora, if you will. And so what Jams does is it strives to create economic opportunities. Everything that we do, if someone does something for us, they're paid for it, right? We strive to create economic opportunities for artists within the community. And, we raise monies, we write for grants, we do, all the things that it takes to raise money. Then we create these events, whereas we invite these artists in so that they can do what they do. Now, overall, we think that will enhance the overall art scene. One way of diversifying the art scene, if you will, is by inclusion and interjecting artists of color within the mainstream events or whatever.
Yes.
But, in my viewpoint, that's one way to do it. But then another way to do it is if we strengthen the scene that we have, right? And then that gives the whole region, choice.
Yeah.
Right. We don't necessarily have to be in, I'll use Taste of Syracuse as an example, right? We don't necessarily have to be in Taste of Syracuse in order for the art scene to be diverse.
Mm-hmm.
But the same sponsors, right, could sponsor us, jams, to create something that is similar.
Yeah.
Right. And then that would also provide diversity, because the sponsors that they utilize to create those types of events, are product sponsors, right? Banks, et cetera, without calling out any specific names. But we use and spend our resources with all those companies.
Absolutely.
So why can't those companies, sponsor what we do, right?
I agree.
And I tell this other thing too. I always say to people that, like for instance, we have a lot of Jackie Robinson. He was the first African American Black person in a Major League Baseball, right? And they let him in. He came in through adversity, and it's great that he got there. But what he left was the Negro Leagues.
Devalued
right?
Negro League.
So as he moved into Major League Baseball and other athletes behind him, right, and diversified Major League Baseball, as that happened, we lost the Negro Leagues, right? So now I understand what Jackie Robinson did, translated over into other sports, and we got, the NBA, which is, my favorite. We got folks making $100 million, which it never happened. It's unprecedented. You follow what I'm saying?
Follow.
So that's a great thing. And we even got coaches and some owners now. But once upon a time, we had the Negro Leagues, whereas we owned, operated, and controlled this. And who knows, because we had the athletes, right? Who knows what it could have become, right? Had we continued building it. Because trust me, they let Jackie Robinson into the major leagues because of his abilities, right? Not necessarily because they wanted to diversify. That may have been a part of it, but that was a very small part of it. The biggest part of it is he couldn't be denied because of his ability.
Yeah.
And you look across the sports athletic field right now, and these cats are out there because they can't be denied. They're covering up for the fact that some of them may not be as educated as others, or some may be kind of opinionated. Some do things that maybe they shouldn't do because it's just doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? It's immature or maybe childish or whatever. But they're still playing.
Yep.
Because their abilities can't be denied. Right?
You can't deny
imagine
talent.
if we owned and controlled all that, as we did in the Negro Leagues, right?
Yeah.
At some point, it would have been the major leagues. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm not saying that Jackie Robinson shouldn't have done what he did, but I'm just saying, let's look at it. So with all that being said, we have jams, joined artists, musicians, and singers, right? And what we intend to do is we intend to own, control, right? Create our own thing. And if it grows big, it does. If it doesn't, it still has one thing about it. It's ours.
Yeah.
We own it. We control it. And, what's better than that, man?
Yeah.
So.
Talk about creative control. You can't beat that, right?
That's it.
Creative control.
We do some events. We've done 7 Funk Fests, 6 actually, because COVID stopped us on one. And we bring in artists, national artists, and they headline our shows. And then we open up the shows with local artists, right?
Nice.
And so we have, singers, rappers. We also do like painting, and we have poets up there. We have dancers up there. We've had models, right? Just all types of things that we present on our Funk Fest. So food artists, we DJs, right? We've had all, not all, but we're shooting for it all. We've had Cambodian bands. We've had African bands. We've had all different types of things that we present to say, hey, this is ours. We headline it with national artists. We usually host that at the fair, right? And it's very well attended, and it's growing, right? So that's one of the things that we do. Another is we have a musicians cookout, right? Whereas we, all the musicians get together. We show up at Long Branch Park or Janesville, wherever the location is for the year. We sell tickets, T-shirts, and we just go out there and eat, and we all just make music, right, all day long. It's a fun event. We had to move. We started out at Clark Reservation.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we had to move out of there because we had, how we do, man, park it all on the grass.
them folks over at Clark Reservation probably got a little nervous, man.
Yeah, well, fortunately, one of the I won't say his name, but a gentleman that worked there was and he had a pretty good position there, was one of the people that attended the event, and that was
nice.
A proponent of making he wanted the event to grow.
Yeah.
So we were fortunate in that respect. But however, looking at it as an organizer, we knew that as organizers, we knew that we couldn't continue to just bust out parking like that, because these places have capacities for a reason.
Yeah.
And so we were growing out of that. So we moved to some different locations.
Yeah. So, growth is a good thing, man. There's nothing wrong with that. Growth is a good thing. That's a good problem to have.
It is a good problem to have. So,
nice.
So that's fun. It's called the Jams Musicians Cookout.
Nice.
There's other things we do, but we have a website, so you can put it up if you want later.
Yeah, absolutely. When do you guys typically have the musician cookout?
That is usually every summer, sometime around July. We pick a strategic week. We don't like to clash with Jazz Fest because a lot of us attend the Jazz Fest, and we just kind of don't want to clash with 4th of July because that's family and home thing. But it's got to be a warm week in July. We don't want to clash with Juneteenth. I mean, so we kind of it moves between July and August, but we always try to be strategic because we want to be. Number one, we don't want to compete with those larger things. But number two, we want to be respectful of, we don't want audience that might attend a musician's cookout not to attend Juneteenth because they want to come to our thing, or vice versa. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, so, definitely.
So we try to be respectful of those things.
I want to say thank you for that too, because there's been times in the past where and I hate doing this, especially when it comes to Black events, where I have to make up my mind between going to this said event or going to that said event because they're on the same day and they're on at the same time. And it's like, you want to support both, but you often find yourself having to pick and choose. So thank you for being very strategic about how you go about setting your festival, because it puts people in bad spots sometimes.
It does. And one last thing I want to say too, just about my own history. I worked with Jubilee Homes for a while, and we have a thing called Southwest Showcase Sundays. It happens on Sunday afternoons, and this is probably the 22nd or 23rd year. I let it go about 3 years ago, and Maria Lewis handles it now. And you know her, she works at City Hall.
Yep.
And throughout that 20-something odd year history, I probably did at least 15 of the showcases. Maria did some early. Our current deputy mayor, Sharon Owens, did a few of them over the years. But it's a thing on Sunday afternoons, Jubilee Park, 100 block of South Ave. And, we bring bands out, the bandwagon, kids' activities, information, and it's festive, right? And we did that for a long time. And for the years that I was doing it, one of the hardships or hurdles was to pay all the fees that it took to get a bandwagon out there, to get the permits, et cetera, right? So what our group has done, Jams has done, is we've taken the lead on the initiative to build a permanent stage at Jubilee Park. And we're moving pretty good in that direction right now. We're going to be putting up a GoFundMe, but Jams is also going to be partially sponsoring it. We've talked to a lot of the local, politicians and council people. Parks and Recreation is on board with us. The commissioner of the Parks Committee for the city, he's on board. And we're even talking to the new folks that's coming up for election because we don't know who's going to win. But we think we're going to be in front of the council pretty soon. And we feel that we're going to be getting affirmative on that. So if all goes well, next year we'll be breaking ground to build a new permanent stage out at Jubilee Park. And we anticipate calling it Jam Stage, Joined Artists, Musicians, and Singers Stage. And it's just kind of something that will help to perpetuate the arts in the future. Folks that come along, even after me or Maria, they'll have a permanent facility there where they can do their events, schools can do things there. It'll just be a permanent fixture that can be used in our community right, for any type of creative events. If they have the Taste of Syracuse downtown that we were talking about earlier, maybe we can have a satellite Taste of South Ave at the same time.
Ooh.
Right? And we can have it in our community where we feel comfortable, right? And that thing can go on. The same sponsors can sponsor it all. It makes the whole thing larger, but it also gives us a way to be a part of it. So we're going to build that stage. We've been working on it for quite a while, but that's going to be a physical manifestation of what our works are.
Now that's dope. And you heard it here first. That was exclusive to the Quality of Love podcast. So
Absolutely.
ha ha ha.
Absolutely.
No, that's dope, man. And I've actually been to a couple of the showcases. They usually start in the summertime or and like in June, around June, and then they run through like, is it August or September?
Well, here's the thing. Another piece of that, we like to end them just before school starts in September. Right, and we try not to complete with the fair again because so as far as for Juneteenth is generally Father's Day weekend. It just so happens to fall that way, right? Father's Day and Juneteenth generally happens to fall the same way. So the Sunday event, our kickoff event, is always Father's Day, and that's the Sunday of the weekend of Juneteenth. So it gives us a whole weekend of activity. Juneteenth runs, Thursday, Friday, Saturday with their events, and then Sunday. Showcase Sundays kicks off in the park. So it feels like Juneteenth has an extra day, right? But it's really the kickoff of our event. And so we try to end before the fair through that part of the summer. But what tends to happen is because we're a small event, sometimes the stage is not available. If there's a rain out on, say, July 16th or something like that, Sunday, I'm giving a date, then we may not be able to get the bandwagon again until September 15th.
Wow.
You follow what I'm saying? Because number one, they're always booked. There are only 2 in the city. They're always using them for various festivals. So when you put in for them, that's your date. If it rains out at such a small event like ours, we can't just say we're going to do it next Sunday. Wow. You follow what I'm saying? We have to get all the logistics back in order. So the next time we might get it might be in September. So we have ran late into September, but that's another reason why we are going to build our own stage. Right?
Yeah, I hear you.
Build that stage, donate it to the city. It'll be belong to the city, but it will be something that an initiative from people within our own community. I live right. I won't say my street, but I live.
I was gonna say, don't give up your information, man. Don't do that.
But I live right here. Just where you might figure, what I'm saying? I live right in the heart of the community, and all the members of our group do, live in the same area. And this is something we are doing from within, that we are coming to the city, to Parks and Recreation, to say, this is our contribution to our community. We want it here. Here's some skin, right? Here's some money, right? To help it happen. This is why we want to do it. Right. And we're not going to stop until it's done. Right. And we think we're taking inspiration from other groups do it in their parks. Right. And we're hoping to do it, but also give inspiration to other groups to say, hey, Jams did that. Why can't we get together and we do this over here? Yeah. And it all just helps to make our own community better. That's all.
Yeah. I think that. So the Jams collective is perfect for what you guys are doing, is because you're trying to create, or I guess we are trying to create things within our community that we actually we can possess and hold, and we don't have to wait for, or like you said, you don't have to get into a situation in which if the showcase rains out, you don't have to wait several weeks before you can do an event or a show. That's dope, man.
Exactly.
Shout out to the Jams Collective. That's what's up.
And I won't be running them because I've stepped away from them, but I still want them to continue. And the only way that they can continue is if we just do all we can from the outside to help that person who's running it right now. It's Maria Lewis. And and I'm sure she does a similar type of podcast. Yep. Right. And we need to help her and her husband, right, to get this thing going. So that's what our group is trying to do. We've also sponsored too. And I guess I feel like I'm running on now, so I'll say this quickly. But we've also sponsored groups to perform on Juneteenth stage.
Oh,
because
wow.
because that's what we do. We've sponsored groups to perform at Showcase Sundays, right? And as opposed to Showcase Sundays paying them, we pay them, right? We'll present the group and we'll pay the group. They'll come out and play. It'll be an economic opportunity for the group. It'll decrease a burden on Showcase Sundays. It decreases a little bit of a burden on Juneteenth. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Right? That's what we're trying to do. So
yeah. One hand wash the other, man. One hand wash the other. Absolutely.
So.
All right, Reggie. Anything else you want to say before we close it out today, man? But I just want to say thank you for taking your time out to be a part of the show. As you know, I got a great deal of admiration for you and the things you've done in the community and the things you continue to do. So I really appreciate you taking the time to come hang out with us this morning. And that's always appreciated, man. But anything else you want to say?
No, I think I probably said, I don't know. Sometimes I talk long, like I say, we said that earlier before the show. We like to talk.
No way. Listen, my audience, they know how we do. They know how we do. There's no need to apologize. They already know how we do. We can go forever if you let us.
That's true. But there's not anything I really like to add other than, I appreciate, I didn't know how this would go, right? I was like, okay, I was a little, I don't know how it's going to go, but I think you do an excellent job of just kind of leading the conversation and, pointing the direction of it and then letting it flow. And I just wish you all the best. The quality of love is definitely, where it's at. I like what you said, what that I read about, and that's why I quoted it on our page, on our Facebook group. The quality of your relationships is directly related to the quality of, your life. You know what I mean? So I agree with that, and I felt that wholeheartedly when I read it. So I just want to say, keep doing what you're doing, man. Keep spreading love, man.
Absolutely, Reggie. I appreciate you being here, and we're definitely gonna connect on a few things later on, man. We got some things we building around here.
Cool in the game, man.
All right, audience, you know how it goes. Get us any questions that you guys want us answered, or anybody you want to see interviewed, or any follow-up questions that you have for Reggie with all his vast knowledge and experience of the music industry. Let us know. Hit us up at tqlp20@gmail.com. Again, that's tqlp20@gmail.com. And as always, remember, the quality of relationships or of love and relationships that you have in your life will determine the quality of your life. Peace and love.
Peace and love, bro.